Welcome to Audible Interlude, a G.I. Joe podcast. I am your host, Dave West, codename Phantom Troublemaker.
And I am your co-host, Noel Wood, codename Crapshoot.
And I am your Cobra intern that owes his life to a deaf baby, codename Legion Cub.
I thought you might actually steal Yorktown Joe's there.
It's too good to steal.
All right, let's see here. You are watching the Needless Things YouTube channel. Please like, subscribe, share. The audio version of this episode will be available this Friday wherever you get your podcasts. And wherever that is, give us a follow, give us a 5-star review, and tell the people about Audible Interlude, a G.I. Joe podcast. Coming soon to a Joe Fest near you. What else we got? Audible Interlude podcast on Instagram. Follow there. Shoot us a message and look for the sound off post every time we're doing a live stream. We look for your input as to what we're going to talk about. And this week we have 2 weeks worth of sound off posts to get through. So I hope now some of those we've had a couple of weeks to think about. So Kristian, Noel, I hope you've done your research and you have some great answers. The people need the good stuff tonight, as opposed to the other nights.
Want us to completely forget our answers and just go off the
Right.
cuff.
Right. So Audible Interlude podcast on Instagram. While you're there, check the pinned stories. Go to our TeePublic store. Get yourself some Audible Interlude merch. We have a number of different T-shirt designs that you can also get on phone cases, mugs. I don't think you can get the tapestries, but lots of different stuff you can get. But really, the belle of the ball, the star of the show, the Cobra intern shirt, as seen at several conventions already this year. I am fully expecting a mob of salivating Cobra intern fans to descend upon Kristian the moment he steps into the Augusta Marriott at the convention center. Salivating. Bring your paint pen because you're going to be signing those shirts, buddy.
I'm going to bring a tattoo pen.
Just go right through it.
Little do they know. But it's like the old school where you tap, 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 tap.
So as I said, you're watching us on the Needless Things YouTube channel where we are live every 2 weeks, sometimes more. Our next live stream will be April the 21st. Put it on your calendar. We'll see. We will potentially have a lot to talk about. More on that in an upcoming segment. But before we get any further, I mentioned we are on the Needless Things YouTube channel. I had to put up a post earlier today in response to some comments on the most viewed video in the history of my channel is Super 7's Batmobile, the Super Cyborg Batmobile. And as we all know, the Super 7 haters are some of the most rageful, traumatized people on the internet who will come at you. And it's fine. Like, if you want to be critical of Super 7, that's fine. But when you start attacking people, when you start being rude and abusive to and about fellow collectors, there is a line that will not be accepted. So I posted this on the channel. I want to make it clear that language that is abusive towards other people will not be tolerated here. Criticism of toy companies and their practices is fine. Being a jerk to other collectors is not. Your comment will be reported if it is deemed inappropriate. And you know who deems it inappropriate? Me. So, say whatever you want, but understand freedom of speech does not mean freedom from consequences. So this morning, there were 3 comments from the same individual that were 100% abusive. One of them was reported as sexual misconduct or pornography. 2 of them were reported as abusive. I'm not putting up
on
with
the same video.
on the same video. It was one of those deals where somebody commented like one thing and then decided they were going to. I think one person actually responded to their first comment and then they just kept going.
Oh, okay.
Stopping. And I'm not gonna share the person who commented on that post because I'm not about calling anybody out most of the time. But somebody commented on that post, unsubscribe, and let me just say this: don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you, snowflake. Nobody is more easily triggered than someone who is upset by being told not to abuse people. So anyway, just not going to put up with it around here. Go somewhere else with that garbage. All right. On to the fun stuff. Kristian, if you would bring up Brett White's comment.
Yes. I've been waiting for a pause because this goes back to one of your messages earlier.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, read it off.
Oh, sorry.
You are the comment
I thought you were
czar
going to read
now.
it. Okay, so Brett White got my Super 7 shipment alert 2 hours ago. New Reaction Plus wave. Here it comes. And guess who still hasn't gotten theirs?
Well, guess what I got 2 hours ago?
Guess what I got about 5 minutes before we went on the air was the notification that mine had shipped.
I still haven't.
I just, well, look, I don't know if it's the fact that the second they went up, and this is not the review. I will be reviewing these figures on the Needless Things YouTube channel, but we're going to go ahead and open this box up and check out what's in here. I don't know if it's that I ordered them the second they went up. I don't know if, my pal Brian Flynn was like, hey, get Dave's order in the mail. I don't know if Super 7 is like, man, that guy gets a lot of grief on that Batmobile review. Let's get his figures out so he can get beat up over those too. But whatever the case, let's take a look at these beauties. And I say beauties. All right. Oh, here we're starting off with the fire because we've talked about this card. First up, Wild Bill with his 6 fingers of doom.
Someone is looking for him.
I was hoping that might get fixed because a lot of times it'll be an early render of the packaged product, but sure enough, 6
God
fingers.
doesn't make mistakes, Dave. He made Wild Bill perfect.
That's
as
right.
is.
But anyway, Wild Bill looks great. Moving on to Cold.
Now, did you look closer
Slither.
to make sure he didn't have actually 6 fingers on his
I did.
little plastic
The
hand?
figure does not have 6 fingers. Or 5 fingers and a thumb, whatever. Cold Slither Zartan, and you can be assured I will test out the color change feature in the actual review. The face on this is awesome. I don't know if you'll really be able to see it, but the look on his face is just tremendous. The little guitar is great. Can't wait to get the rest of the band.
We presume
Arctic
he'll eventually be available.
Action Cobra Commander. And these were all carefully packed, unpunched, nice cards, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to rip them open. That's what I do. I still say I like the way they did the jacket. I wouldn't have wanted it any other way, but we'll see. Once we get it out and I start posing him and stuff, we'll see if that holds up. Look at the little fur on the top of his boots. That's great. All right. Snake Eyes looks really, really good. I know, it's another Snake Eyes, which this is not a repaint. This is retooled. This is not the same tooling as the first one. Everything looks sharp. He looks great, except for his sword. His stubby little sword is a little silly. And then finally, just something I threw in just because it was something that I wanted, but I didn't want to pay the shipping to get it. I grabbed that Cherry Blossom Godzilla.
Yes.
That is just beautiful.
I realized as soon as I had submitted mine that I should have gotten that T-shirt that I wanted from them because I
Right.
didn't want to have to pay extra shipping for it. But it was too late. I'd already gotten the order in.
Well, and I do that. Oh, look, I got a little mummy boy sticker.
Because it was the fight, freedom, friendship.
Oh, yeah.
It was that one, and they had it when I was at the Super 7 store, but they didn't have it in my size.
Oh, yeah. I bought that one. If you remember, I bought it at Joe Fest, and I loved it so much, the fit and everything, that I ordered another one when they either had a 20% off sale or a free shipping sale or something. So I ordered another one because I'm sure all of us, at least the three of us lunatics that we are, can probably look back through our lives at T-shirts we've owned and been like, I wished I'd ordered a second one of that one. So yeah, they are here. Those reviews will go up next week.
Did you or any of the listeners get the text from Super 7 that they found more stock of the Wave 1 bats?
Yes.
So that was one figure I did not get. But I've been enjoying reaction. Yeah, Bat 2 design is my favorite, but I've been enjoying Reaction Plus. So I said, why not? And I gotta say,
hey,
I actually really like it.
It's great, right?
The blue is kind of cool. So
I dig it. I mean, I loved the ultimate version of that one. So I was pretty happy about getting an O-ring. Were you saying something, Noel?
No.
Oh, okay. So
real quickly,
yeah.
Brett White again. I had a Super Neon Eco Warriors Toxo Viper t-shirt as a kid. First off, good tongue twister. Secondly, I need to hunt for this shirt now.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Eco Warriors clothes.
Super Neon Eco Warriors Toxic Viper t-shirt. I couldn't say it 5 times though. So that covers our first note of follow-up that was originally just Reaction Plus Wave 3 available from Super 7. I did not expect to have them in hand to report on. I want to talk real quick about the silent missions issues that have been coming out. We're not doing full reviews, but Noel and Kristian, did you guys have an opportunity to read Beachhead and Jinx?
Yes.
Read.
Well, right.
Yeah. Yes,
I the Beachhead story I found to be very impactful. Pacing was great.
The Beachhead one was very dense.
Yes.
Yeah. And I have my thoughts on the silent mission books in general. I mean, these are a little diversion. They, they're not part of they're not part of the Energon universe. I think they're technically part of the A Real American Hero universe.
If anything, yes.
Yeah. I loved the other one. I love the Jinx one. But this one, I felt like this was just a gimmick. There was no reason for this to be a silent issue. And there's even word bubbles that are just not filled in. And I was like, that to me just feels like I'm reading an incomplete comic rather than a story that's being told silently.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good story. I didn't see, while sure maybe it could have had dialogue, it didn't need it. I didn't feel like I was missing anything by it not having dialogue.
Well, I thought I had to go back to the beginning and look at it because I was like, okay, they're clearly saying things. And what I think would have made it really good is if somehow they had indicated that first bit of action in the first couple of pages had made Beachhead temporarily lose his hearing. And if they had been able to illustrate that somehow to where you're kind of seeing it from his POV,
yeah,
I think it would have made a lot more sense. But to me, again, there was no. It's like the issue 21 was written with it being in mind. Like, okay, we're leaving out the dialogue because we're trying to get this to press faster, and there was a reason, and the whole story could have been told, without any dialogue.
Why is that reason any more valid than we want to celebrate a landmark comic book issue.
Well, it's not the reason. It's it's the way the story was delivered. There's no point in that where you're saying, okay, this couldn't have been accomplished without dialogue. Like even the beginning part where Cobra Commander is kind of like, in front of everybody. It's the first time we ever see Storm Shadow. We don't know if Storm Shadow even speaks English at this point. So he's just kind of pointing at him. So other than that, everything else is like, you know what? Snake Eyes is silent. There's no reason for Scarlet and Storm Shadow to be having dialogue. As Destro's leading the troops up, he's like trying to be sneaky, so he's being quiet.
Yeah.
But and this one, it's like I like the artwork. I thought it was a good little story. I thought it was a waste of one to be in a silent missions book. That's going to be my.
Well, we will agree to disagree. I enjoyed it and liked it for what it was. But I think we can move on to Jinx, which this felt. And by the way, an interview with Dan Waters and Danny, who are the creators behind this issue, coming this week on the Needless Things YouTube channel and the Needless Things podcast. Great interview. This issue felt like something special.
This is exactly what I think they should be doing with these, because it's a nice little, it's a little gimmick, but it works really, really well.
See, that's interesting because of the two, I thought Beachhead had more story.
Yeah.
Now,
it did.
Because it doesn't take place over the course of 20 seconds.
Right.
Well, but also, I think.
Well, remember this. That before we proceed, this doesn't come out till Wednesday, so no significant spoilers. But that's not really a spoiler because it's on page 1.
Right.
After the incredibleness of the Scarlet miniseries, and again, like Noel said, these are not taking place in the Inner John universe, but sort of that Inner John Jinx is my headcanon now.
Yeah.
But I will say this, more so than Beachhead, if you are into art, and I'm not talking like, the over stylized kind of Jim Lee, like if you are into the use of colors and creative uses for art, this is the issue for you.
I felt like I got a bit of a Sin City vibe with this, with just
Absolutely.
like the bright colors against the kind of black and white backgrounds.
Be sure to check out that interview with Danny and Dan Waters, because we get into the art and the style and how she does what she does as an artist. But yeah, definitely that Frank Miller, Mike Mignola style. I just thought this. I read this several times before I did that interview, because it's just, as Noel said, it takes place in 20 seconds.
And that's the thing.
Awesome.
It's fun to read through it quickly like that, but then I wanted to go back and just absorb all of the artwork.
Yeah.
Because
Well, it's so kinetic. Like you really do have to go through it and really take in panel by panel. And I'll just say this: there is an element in this comic that we have seen hundreds of times in pop culture, in TV shows and movies and whatever, but we have never, or I have never, seen it go the way that it does in this comic.
Right.
And it was delightful to get that finally. And we'll next week, after the comic has actually come out, maybe we'll kind of revisit that just for a moment, just to appreciate how much fun that was to see that iconic situation go the way that it does. So for me, I'm recommending both of these right now. Now, we do have review copies of the other silent issues, but we'll be talking about those as we go along. All right, let's see here. Are we ready for news? We are. It is officially time for some news. If I can find the news, I got to delete some of these banners. There's too much stuff up here now.
Real quickly, Rachel, while you're looking up your banners, Rachel
Yes.
Salinas with silent issues make more sense with silent weapons. So don't look for the Harley Quinn passing gas issue that just came out
What?
Last week? Yeah, it's
What?
a whole Harley Quinn special, and from the cover to the last page, the joke is that she has uncontrollable bowels.
So she's Natty Neidhart? Poor Natty. All right. So first up in the news, we mentioned the Toy Collector's Wish Book special G.I. Joe edition, and we've got a little update on that because it blew past its funding, it blew past its stretch goals. It really, unsurprisingly, because I think when we've looked at these G.I. Joe centric Kickstarters or crowdfunds or whatever, they tend to do relatively well. So this is from who I ended up not getting to talk to at Toylanta. I'm a little disappointed.
Yeah, I talked to him.
never
I talked
saw
to him quite a bit when I was there. He was also blown away by the response. He was not expecting those numbers. So,
but
some other things are going to have to be put on the back burner while he's getting this thing.
Yeah.
out.
I did order my copy of Volume 2, though. Did you order yours, Noel?
Yeah, I asked him if he had any, but he didn't have any on. He didn't have any on site, so I just went online and bought my Volume 2 that night.
That's what I did. Yeah. And it came, I mean, he's local, so it came in a couple of days.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. I should have just gotten it way back when. So anyway, this is an update from April 1st. So this is 6 days ago. 200% funded with all stretch goals unlocked. So what's next? And basically, he's trying to figure out what's next, because once you get past all these stretch goals, he's excited to add approximately 6 to 8 pages covering the Sunbow Marvel animated series. This will include the show's history, primary characters, military rank, and voice acting cast. He is also working on lining up a possible special interview for that chapter. He's also added a chapter covering the Deke animated series. You know we love Deke. You made this happen, so thank you very much. And also a slip cover for the volume. That's, a nice classy little touch. That's always a neat thing to add. So he's trying to figure out going forward what he could add as further stretch goals. But let's do a little check-in on the Kickstarter itself and see where it is now. With 8 days remaining, it has, wow, Joe fans are something else. 8 days remaining, it is at $93,994 of the $40,000 goal. That is wild. So yeah, it's going to be a great volume. I mean, if you've seen the other Toy Collector's Wish books, and if you haven't, you should absolutely check them out. I think they're, Noel, aren't there paperback editions available as well?
There were some paperback editions. Yeah, I'm not sure how much stock he has of those still, especially the first edition. But
they're just gorgeous. Gorgeous collections of love for toy collecting, and this one is focused. The other volumes are multiple toy lines. I wish I had my volume 2 sitting over here, but I was looking at it earlier and I didn't bring it with me. They're multiple toy lines. Like they'll cover 5 or 6 toy lines, the entire line plus his photography of the toys. But this one is just G.I. Joe, because obviously 82 to 94, 12 years of G.I. Joe requires its own volume.
Yeah.
So everybody check that out on Kickstarter, Toy Collector's Wish Book from Retro Toy Quest.
And speaking of Kickstarters, Double Pale Ale. Hey, Dave, bought the Skeletron as soon as you said it was available a while back. Top 5 best toys ever.
Right? That
you heard it here, folks. Listen to Audible Interludes recommendations.
Yes, we will not save you money. Unlike, was it Gallery Furniture? Was that the old commercial?
Ask for the wolf, man.
No, okay, it's not Gallery Furniture. There was another one where it was whatever furniture will save you money. I hated that commercial so much. All right. So now we get on to more serious business. Tariff Watch 2025. And boy, it's not going well, is it?
No.
I spoke to
Don't look
Sparrow
at your
Toys.
401k.
Yeah, I haven't. I know I should, just to have a direct awareness of what's going on. But I talked to my financial guy the other day, and basically he's been doing this since 1989, I think. So he's been through 2008. He's been through 2020. He said, if you want to look at it, but just sit tight. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I got at least 15 years, I figure, before
Right.
I'm going to need to start taking money out of it.
You said 50? 50
50,
years before
well, 50,
before
yeah.
you can retire? Yeah, that's probably about right. So I spoke with Sparrow Toys, Sparrow, I don't know, Sparrow Toys, Animal Warriors of the Kingdom.
I always say Sparrow, but
I spoke with their designer at Toylanta, and he had a little more positive outlook. And as someone who deals directly with imports and whatnot, his opinion definitely carried a little weight with me, because obviously he has a better outlook than I do, because he's dealing directly with these things, or he's got better information than I do. Now, the tariff announcement had not been made at that point, so I have not followed up. Well, I did follow up. I'm working on getting him on the show to talk about toys, but also what's happening. We'll see where that goes. Zombie Sailors Toys dropped an announcement. An announcement. Announcement. I'm so bereft by all of this terrible news. I don't know what to do. I basically announced, look, we're not going to be able to charge what we've been charging for our toys. And he has low production runs, high quality toys. His prices are already, quite frankly, a little more than I want to pay. And I'll tell you right now, I'm not paying more than what I'm currently paying for Zombie Sailors stuff. And it's not his fault, obviously. I just can't justify it. And this is what's going to happen to a lot of these independent toy companies. And of course, the biggest one we've got is the announcement from Fresh Monkey Fiction, who canceled. So at Toylanta, if you watched the Indie Toy Spotlight panel live right here on the Needless Things YouTube channel, you know that Fresh Monkey Fiction announced the second series of Longbox Heroes were going to be launching soon. And then just a few days later, after the tariffs were announced, we got this note from Fresh Monkey Fiction. Longbox Heroes fans, we wanted to share an update about our latest Longbox Heroes Kickstarter. As many of you may be aware, recent policy changes have significantly increased tariffs on goods imported from China. These new policies impose a tariff of 50% on our manufacturing costs. Unfortunately, this cost is not absorbed by China. It directly impacts us as manufacturers and ultimately you as fans, which is fairly well established, even if for some reason some people did not accept that. This means a single figure would now cost roughly $40 for Kickstarter backers once all tariff and shipping and handling fees are factored in. We don't believe this is a fair price for the type of figure we are producing, and we know many of you would share our concerns, which is a very nice way of saying you lunatic rage addicts would roast us online if we were trying to charge $40 because we had no other choice for these figures. Given these circumstances, we've made the incredibly tough decision to cancel the Kickstarter campaign. We had high hopes for this line and have invested a great deal of time and effort into securing the necessary licenses and fine-tuning these figures. However, with so much financial uncertainty, we do not feel comfortable moving into production under these conditions. No one is more disappointed by this outcome than we are, but we remain committed to finding a way to bring these figures to life at some point in the future. We deeply appreciate your enthusiasm, support, and understanding throughout this process. Thank you for believing in this project as much as we do. Best, Bill and Jason. So that is right out of the gate one casualty of these tariffs. And we love spreading positivity on this show. We like talking about toys and collectibles and whatever else, but also it is important that we're realistic about what's happening and what's coming. This directly affects our hobbies and our lives. And I want anybody to be surprised on April 15th when these new classified figures go up for pre-order. And look, maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe Hasbro has figured out a better way to absorb those price increases. Or maybe they've kicked the can down the road a little bit and we won't see them just yet. I don't know. We'll find out.
So I wanted to touch on this as well, because I've seen some comments based off of things mostly that Mattel has said about, diversifying the factories so that no one country is producing more than 25% of their output. So I actually was able to find a list of all of the outside of America factories that Hasbro use. Now, this list is from 2018. So, I'm sure things have changed.
Sure, I'm sure the pandemic probably changed some at the very least, but it's still a good baseline.
Right. And yes, while you do have factories in Vietnam, factories in Mexico, Canada, the thing is to keep in mind, none like a G.I. Joe classified, for example, let's just say the current prices, right? $25.
Which, by the way, already too expensive.
Yes. But if for some crazy reason Leatherneck is made in China and Sunshine Tunnel Rat is made in Canada, they're not going to charge two different prices. They're going to keep the prices the same across the board. So even if these companies do diversify, and I mean, Hasbro has like 6 pages, at least in 2018, of outside factories.
Wow, that's wild. I'd never given it enough thought. I cannot talk tonight. I'm exhausted from a weekend of talking. It's wild that there are that many.
Yeah, and the first couple of pages, I was like, oh, I'm only seeing China, pop up here once or twice, and then it was like I got to page 3, and it was just
wow.
So yeah, so folks, again, what we've said before, buy what you love. Don't have FOMO. Like, this stuff is expensive. Don't blow your budgets. And we'll keep our fingers crossed that things change.
Absolutely. And that's what we're talking here is worst case scenarios. If these tariffs stay where they are, if things don't get worked out, whatever the case may be. But I think it's important to be aware of this stuff. I really do. One final note from somebody in the know, and I'm usually kind of hesitant to share uncredited things from the HisTank forums, but it was posted in these public forums, and this individual has been a consistent source of solid information on HisTank. So I'm not gonna, just in the interest of their identity, I won't say who it came from, but this was posted in the HisTank forums. And I thought it was important enough to share, and clearly they did too. At this moment, there is supposed to be a HasLab for the year 2025. Could that change due to current economic events? Yes. Unfortunately, this is going to impact all aspects of production, shipping, warehousing, etc. I've been an importer of third-party transformers for almost a decade now, and these tariffs have already affected my livelihood. Quick example. For ease of math, let's say it cost $100 to import a figure last week. As of today, that same figure will cost $136 to import due to all aspects of getting this figure made and shipped to the States. I personally will not be able to sustain my current business at those prices. This is an individual, an independent business person who is going out of business because of this. And look, there's a lot I want to say, and I'm not going to say it out of respect to people who've commented in the past. But I think it's important to look at how this affects our business, or our collecting, and how it affects our lives. And I'd also like to say, in 4 years, depending on what happens, the rest of the world isn't just going to forgive us and go back to normal. That's another thing to consider.
We also know that toy companies and companies in general, when they find an opportunity to raise prices, even if the market corrects itself, it's not likely they're going to just decide to go back to the way they
No,
used
they
to
will.
be.
They will not.
Yeah.
So these
I
these
keep
prices
saying
will
once they hit 30, they're not coming back down.
yeah, they're going to go in one direction.
Now we did get I think it was our last live stream. A good point was made. Something similar happened in, I want to say it was like 2011-ish, where Hasbro raised the prices on the current line of 25th anniversary style Joes, and then did a soft relaunch, like as a different name, and the prices came back down. So it is not impossible that things will calm back down if they go up, but it is unlikely. Actually, we've got Kristian. If you want to hit that Delta 17,
Yep.
that's pretty pertinent. Somebody else in the business.
So Delta 17, our next shipment of new stuff leaves port in 1.5 weeks. The new 54% tariff will hit us if China doesn't negotiate something fast. Our prices might be affected on our newest line, Wave 1.5.
So again, this is happening now. It's no longer in the future. And obviously, we're talking about toys, but take a look at what the U.S. imports. All right, on to better things. What else have we got here? Now some actual fun toy news. Look at this guy. Red Shadows Wolf Trooper. This is a factory test sample. This is not the final one, but this is the 6-inch 1/12 scale Wolf Trooper. I only shared one picture because I encourage you to follow Skeletron on Instagram or join their Facebook group, which is I believe it's a private group, but you can join. It's not like you have to do anything. Like, you just have to request membership. Lots of great photos. Ben is always posting updates and stuff. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I just wanted to jump back in again with Delta 17 to keep a little optimism and hope out there. They said, keep in mind that multiple countries are moving fast to negotiate things with the U.S. to get tariffs down. So it can be done.
There you go. A little positivity there.
Yes,
Up,
I'm going to go to Wild Arctic at SeaWorld when I finally get a day off. I'm going to talk to those penguins. And
get those penguins in line. Oh, man. But anyway, this is a beautiful looking figure. I cannot wait to get the rest of these figures we've got coming from Skeletron. Like, this stuff just, I mean, we know the quality of the product. It's fantastic. So this is exciting to see. We also have an update from Callsign Longbow. No accompanying image, but I'll just say the factory is currently working on the revisions they submitted last month based on their first shot reviews. Several of these revisions pertain to details that will better allow Callsign Longbow figures to be cross-compatible with vintage O-ring figures. They are continuing to push the production team to complete this project as soon as possible, while also ensuring that you will receive the best product possible. And that's another thing to consider here, is these independent companies who have already taken the money, Operation Recall, Callsign Longbow, but now are potentially going to have to pay significantly increased prices to get that product here. This is going to hurt these guys badly. Like, to the potentially no more Callsign Longbow, no more Legends of the Hidden Force, no more Operation Recall. It's bad stuff.
Oh, and another thing I forgot to mention, if there are any Transformers, fans out there, and I'm sure Noel will remember this, for all the folks that are saying, like, oh, move factories, move factories. There was a dark period if you were buying Transformers when they switched factories. I think it was the first time they tested some in Vietnam, and the plastic quality was horrible. That's pretty much when I became strictly third party. It can take factories sometimes waves to finally kind of
Yeah.
get things right, but there's like, a few years there of Transformers that you look at them wrong and they break, or you transform them once and there's stress cracks everywhere because the plastic is just so cheap.
Well, Lego too. Lego traditionally has always produced all of their stuff in Denmark, and they outsourced first to the Czech Republic, and there was a notable difference in quality, inconsistency with colors, molds that weren't completely filled in, happening a lot.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so you'd have a brick that was, a corner of it was just not there. But then they even, like, for some of their other product, they were outsourcing to China and Mexico, and even like lesser quality for those, not their mainline stuff, but that was things like their licensed products they were sending over there. And yeah, so I presume it's gotten better. I haven't been buying as much new Lego lately, so I'm not so sure. But yeah, there was definitely a noticeable drop off when they moved factories just to the Czech Republic.
Okay, I'm going to take this one, Kristian, if it's okay with you. Because
yeah, please.
All right, so Sean Forrester comments, just like the wrestling figures that are coming out, wrong torsos, incorrect parts, etc. So I've mentioned the Monday Night Wars WWE figures a few times. They're Walmart exclusive, which is enough of a problem in and of itself. Somebody recently found at Ollie's, it is the... Okay, so the packaging is Kurt Hennig from WCW. He's got an NWO look and a oh shoot, what was the country music gimmick? It fell out of my head. West Texas Rednecks.
Yes.
So it's got both of those looks. He comes with a guitar. So the packaging is that. The body it's on is DDP. It's DDP jeans. I don't know what the torso. Oh, Sean, if you know, is the torso? Is it Hennig's torso or is it the DDP torso? Because it didn't look like it had the tattoos on it or anything. And then it's got a Kurt Hennig head on the DDP body. It's wild. But what's funny about it is I was never able to find that DDP figure at retail. I ordered it. I paid scalper prices to get one online and ended up with the Chase, which has darker jeans. So I actually need the light jeans body because in my head, that's what he looks like. Even though the dark jeans are not wrong, I just want a light jeans DDP. But yeah, that was, Kyle Peterson found those at Ollie's apparently. So I was going to stop at Ollie's today, but I had to get home to get ready for all of this magic. Well, and there may be Cody Rhodes torso, entirely possible. I don't know. I know there have been a few instances of mismatched body parts, like you're saying, on different things.
Yorktown Joe. Hennig's torso sounds like an upcoming Cold Slither album.
It'd be even worse if it was Perfect Torso.
Oh man, no, that sounds like a David Cronenberg movie.
I was thinking a Doug Henning magic trick, but who remembers him?
I do.
Okay, thank goodness.
All right, moving on to straight up just good toy news, and something that I don't believe will be affected by tariffs because don't they do their production here in the United States? I don't know for sure. But anyway, look, it's another Hound. Gridiron is back with a third color variation on the Hound. They are calling this extension on the Night Hound the Camino, which I love because
of course
I am a big fan of the El Camino to the point where I want one of those new, Santa Fe, I think. Anyway, this thing just looks awesome. I commented on the Instagram post just saying desert, and they said coming soon. So my desert version, which I would get, this is difficult for me because spending $200, well, $200+, because it's, hang on, let's look this up real quick.
You got to get the vehicle,
Right, the
and
vehicle,
then you
the
have
base
to
vehicle
buy.
is $200, right?
Yeah.
And then the add-on is probably what, like 70, 80 more?
Mm-hmm.
Camino module. Hang on, I'm on the page. I'm navigating. It won't click. Hounds and modules. Camino. Oh, the Camino. So $280 to get this. I can't justify it. As much as I love it, and as much as I would double love it in that Mega Force desert camo.
Well, but I mean, as of right now, or at least the other night when I had a brief moment of downtime at work and was on their website, their vehicle stuff and their drone stuff is what they're really pushing. So none of it goes into the vault. Like, you can still buy the tires for the Ferret, right?
Right.
The figure loadouts, they have started rotating. So not all of their product is available at the same time.
I mean, it makes sense. I'm sure they have to go through a cycle of production with that stuff.
Yeah. Well, and they said, one, it helps keep production costs down. And two, this way, if they say, here's, the 6 character loadouts and the however many individual weapons we're going to offer, now you don't have to wait for them to make it. It's not like, print on demand.
Yeah.
It's like, boom, I ordered it, they ship it. So you get your Hound, and then, a couple months later or Christmas time, then you get your Camino. And
Kristian, we have established I do not have the patience that you do. Where for anybody that doesn't know the history here, Kristian could buy just the shell of a snowcat and then spend the next 17 years slowly buying the parts to put on it. And in the year 2035, in the year 2042, we'll be doing a live stream, and Kristian's Joe and Tell will be, you guys, I finally finished that snowcat.
Singing it like Johnny Cash. I got it one piece at a time.
He is absolutely Cobra intern that loves Johnny Cash just a little too much. Oh my goodness. So anyway, though, I genuinely think this is a thing of beauty. I like that they're doing the different modules. They did the first Hound, the module they did on the back, they also did in the Arctic color. And then I think they did one for the Arctic one that was only for that so far. I'm sure over the course of time, everything will be available in every color. But right now, this one is just for the Night Hound. And I just think it's awesome. This to me, even though I love the platform on the back of the other one, this one is just, I just really dig this. It looks great.
And maybe this will give us a reason to finally do our review of the movie. But Yorktown Joe pops in with, didn't Bruce Willis ride in the back of a Camino in G.I. Joe Retaliation?
Heck, yes, he did. Popped up out of the back, firing away. Oh man, that was we need to get that review done. Maybe that would be good for live something or other. Somewhere.
Oh, like a viewing party?
I don't know. We'll think about it. We'll figure something out. All right. Now on to official G.I. Joe business. We have got a few classified drops to discuss. I already mentioned these are expected on April the 15th. We do not know.
Why are you going to do that on tax day? Come on, y'all.
Yeah, right.
I owe a bunch of money this year.
Yeah, I do too. We've had some miscommunications over the past few years. So, hopefully pricing will not have moved. As I said, Hasbro may well just sort of kick the can down the road and hope for the best. But we could also see those $30 classified figures. I don't know. But whatever the case, we got to talk about what we're looking at. Now, the version 4 Snake Eyes will also be available. I believe it's supposed to be Amazon exclusive. Although that doesn't really make sense because then this is only 3. I don't know. I think I'm wondering if that version 4 being Amazon exclusive, because that was reported last time. I wonder if that might have been a mistake. Something got jumbled somewhere, because between Snake Eyes, Major Blood, Monkey Wrench, and Battle Armor Cobra Commander, that's a wave. That's 4 figures. So anyway, version 4 Snake Eyes, which we had already seen and we've already discussed. So there's not much more to say here, but we can talk about the gentleman on the screen right now, Major Blood.
Rexship 85 chimes in. No. Snake Eyes version 4 is part of this wave. That Amazon thing was a copy error.
Okay, good. That's good news. So I want to know what you guys think, and I'm talking to the chat as well. What do you think of this Major Blood?
Man,
he's a good looking figure. I don't think he looks as good as the one that came out 4 years ago, which is still one of my favorite classified figures.
I'm curious, is the red supposed to make him like Crimson Major Blood? Like, that's the part that I still can't, like, why?
When we got the name reveal with the image of the classified figure, my hope was that they would change up the colors a little more significantly. Like, I think I mentioned if they did his armor in like a silver, I think that would be really cool. But nope.
So Delta 17 popped in. He looks cool. I don't have the original yet. One of the few that I don't have. Gotta go eat some food. Great show, guys.
Thank you for stopping in, Delta 17. Anybody who has not checked out Delta 17's incredible O-ring figures, please do it. It is my pick for, and look, all these O-ring lines are fun and fantastic, but Delta 17, I think, is the best of them.
And I'm glad that you chimed in, Delta 17, because that has been my thing with this Major Blood ever since they first announced him. There are, he was an early figure in the line. So there are people that need him, and this is fantastic for them.
And I agree with that 100%. While I look at this, I don't need it. It does look cool, and it is getting this character, this much needed character, into hands of people that weren't able to get him before, because it's not like it was super easy to find the first time around. So a lot of people don't have a Major Blood, and I appreciate that they're just like, well, let's just do, redo this one, and down the line we're gonna get other Major Bloods.
And everybody deserves to be as frustrated by those rockets not staying attached to his backpack as the rest of us. Just pre-warning you all. Put them in a baggie as soon as you get them.
See, mine have not been terrible.
Oh,
they're not great, but they're not terrible.
Nope, I was always finding mine on the shelf.
So this is, this is a pass for me. I they don't need my approval, but I approve of them doing it. But it's not for me.
Yeah, again, it's as he was saying, as Delta 17 was saying before. Some people missed out on the first Major Blood. Get you one at the regular retail price, because I'm pretty sure that one still goes for a good bit on the aftermarket.
Hey, I like that.
Kevin Riddle says his color scheme makes him hiss Fire Team Blood.
Yeah,
I dig that. I go with that. Although, to be honest, I think it would be cool to have a completely recolored his Fire Team Blood, like to really match them. But I'll go with that. I dig it.
And Reverend Scott Stripling Art says, I think it looks really cool.
And it does. It does. I mean, honestly, as far as being toyetic, it's better than the original Blood. It's more interesting to look at, but that original blood is great. We got to move on. Speaking of toys, oh, look at that. The Claw with the Claw
The
pilot.
Claw.
The Claw.
The Claw is our master.
Looks great. I'm excited for it. I like the lines. Now, granted, this is still just a render. I assume we'll get actual product shots on the 15th. But I mean, I'm in. I'll probably only get one, depending on the price. But yeah, I've.
Reverend Scott Stripling again with, I wish it came without a pilot. I am there with you.
I kind of I do like the pilot figure, but I agree. I wish it was just the Claw. It doesn't
But
need a.
they've
pilot.
kind of established these female troopers with all of these vehicles now, so or at least a couple of them at this point.
So Hasbro has faith in women drivers.
That's right.
Wreckship 85 says they said it's got like a 12-inch wingspan. Listen, usually you and I are always on the same page, but I have a Dragonfly and a Hiss tank that are like, what's that little thing doing on your shelf?
I've still got plenty of ceiling space. Not really. I really don't. All right. So yeah, it looks. I mean, this is again, depending on what happens with pricing, this is a must-have.
And Joe Ara, a real American hero, did the original have Cobra on the wings? Is branding really an issue for the foremost terrorist organization?
Well, now, first of all, Cobra is more on point with their branding than even Hordak, who puts his face on everything. But yeah, I don't remember that the original actually saying like
No,
Cobra.
It doesn't.
No.
I've got dozens of these things around here somewhere, and yeah, none of them say the word Cobra.
But in this social media age, if you do not have branding, you're just not winning.
I feel like the logo should be enough.
The logo is all we need. Come on.
All right, moving on. We're gonna let Noel kick this one off.
All right. Oh yeah. So we knew this one was coming. We saw our little teaser on the cold slither packaging as well. But finally getting our monkey wrench, filling out our dreadnoughts. I think he looks really, really good. They've kept the bandolier and everything. I'm not sure what's going on with his second head.
Well, it's not a second head; it's an overlay.
Yeah, but it's got so you pull off his hair,
right?
So that goes on there. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what that relates to.
It looks familiar, though, doesn't it? Like it looks like something.
I don't remember them ever having anything like that show up in any of the.
I don't know that it's from G.I. Joe. It looks like there's some part of my brain that's reacting to that shape.
Well, what it is he's got a red and a blue, so this is how he goes and sees 3D movies. But if they have spiders in the movies, then he's going to run scared because, as we all know, Monkey Wrench is deathly afraid of spiders.
Brett White chimes in with, quote, "I'm not sure what's going on with that second head," unquote, the G.I. Joe classified tagline. That might need to be a shirt, actually.
Yeah, we've got his traditional trident weapon thingy there, but yeah, he's got a couple of axes. We're just going to throw in.
They are wrenches taped to axes.
Oh, they are. Because I just thought they were like, yeah, because they're not barbecue's axe.
No,
that they've reused so many times
it is a
now.
wrench taped to an axe.
Okay.
I like that he comes with, he's got some options, the scarf, the face mask. I am hoping that his sunglasses are attached to his hair the same way that mask is on the alternate.
Yeah, I do not want another case of sunglass fall off.
I did
Oh
not.
yeah, I pointed this out in our chat.
Oh,
Wreckchip
yeah, yeah.
85 said his bandolier is also a car seat belt too.
So is his holster. If you look
Oh,
at the
yeah.
web gear on that, his
Okay,
holster
yeah.
is as well.
Well, Monkey Wrench likes to be safe.
Well, and the original figure, he actually had patches covering those rips, but you know what? In the world of classified, he just lets those rips fly.
That's right.
So,
Things are crazy here.
yeah, this was a personal favorite for me. This was my first Dreadnought costume I ever put together. So
Yeah, I think he looks great. He looks exactly like I want classified Monkey Wrench to look. And as critical as I've been of some of the alternate looks we've seen, I like that mask. I don't know what the heck it is, and I don't know that it's appropriate for Monkey Wrench, but I do like it.
yeah, I just don't know. Like, I can't imagine anyone posing this figure on their shelf with that mask.
Rachel Salinas chimes in with, "You better be able to dodge those wrenches."
Talk
Yeah.
about a future Let's Freaking Go ring.
Hey, that's already Joes and Cobras. So
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So this is great. This is a must-have. And finally, we're about to dip our Joe toes into some Cobra controversy
yeah,
because there was some talk about this next figure. I saw it, and my first thoughts were, I love how sleek it is. I cannot wait to see what that shiny silver looks like in person. If that silver is executed as nicely as the gold on the Iron Grenadier bats, this is going to be a great looking figure. Then you zoom in and you realize the alternate portrait is freaking Snake Cobra Commander from the Deke cartoon, and then he comes with the iguana that is Serpentor or was formerly Serpentor. Like this, that I was excited to see Battle Armor Cobra Commander in Classified, but this is delivering things that I didn't know I would appreciate with, because we'd speculated about it coming with the unmasked head or the Fred head or whatever. And yeah, I still think those would have been nice, but what they've done here, I really, really like it. I just hope that those shoulder pieces are hooked into the arm and not attached at the bicep. You know what I mean? Like those,
Yeah.
the one figure that had them, the arm plugs in through them so they move well.
And there's so many comments. I can't pull them all up, but I'm just going to say Audible Interlude listeners obviously know what's going on, because overwhelmingly, as soon as you brought this up, everyone is excited. So, and as far as the alternate, like, I love that alternate head.
Yes.
Do I want a Fred head? Sure. But you know what? I've got some unmasked Steve Rogers heads.
So my only question about the alternate head is, okay, in the Deke cartoon, which this is clearly referencing, when he puts that helmet on,
I know.
He has his normal eyes.
I know.
We just reviewed that miniseries.
It's a visor. So,
I think this looks cool. Now, what do you guys think about the proportionality of the armor? Because it is much more sleek and snug than the original design.
It's sleeker, and also the figure itself is a little slimmer, because like the original one, like by 87, they were using that slightly larger buck for the Joes, so the figures were a little bit more filled out, and I kind of feel like he is just a little slimmer, like up in the chest and everything. That was the only one thing that like immediately kind of stood out to me, but it doesn't bother me because it looks like it fits with the other Cobra Commander figure as far as proportions go.
Oh wow, Kristian, if you could bring up Joe ARAH's most recent comment, I think I just got sold on buying 2 of these. This is 2 completely different characters. This is a 2-in-1.
Well, yeah,
This is
because
Fred
the other one's Fred.
and Snake Cobra Commander.
Well, I'm going to be tempted. I'm going to be tempted to, like, head swap another, like, just blonde-haired figure and have him holding the helmet, covering the eyes, of course.
Out of Shelf Space asks, is the backpack upside down? I thought it was a little jetpack.
Oh wow, the controversy involved with this backpack.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, there is. So if you look at the art, the card art, hang on. Let me pull this up real quick because
Yeah,
this is worth
I thought it's
worth
right.
discussing.
It's right side up, and I was going to say, Out of Shelf Space, if you want it to be a little jetpack, it is a little jetpack. So while you're looking that up,
So
I've
got it.
Asks, do Cobra interns polish the commander's armor? Yes, we do.
So we are looking at 3djoes.com, the absolute best repository of information about G.I. Joe and G.I. Joe art. And if you have not purchased 3D Joe's The Art of G.I. Joe, you have to. It is a required purchase if you love G.I. Joe like we do. Okay, so the first thing I'm noticing is that on this card art, the classified version actually resembles this card art a little better as far as the sleekness of it than the figure does, the original figure. But take a look at the card art, right? And look at the parts of the backpack that are poking up over his shoulders. But then, hang on, I'm looking at what my other reference is. In all of the catalog images and everything, this is how the backpack is presented. So I don't know that anybody's ever actually gotten to the root of what he's supposed to look like or how it's supposed to be on him. But the card art shows the backpack with the pointy side down, but the figure in catalogs and stuff has the pointy side up.
I always pointed mine down.
I did too.
And I want to say, because they have a little bit of a curvature usually on the back of them to kind of indicate which side goes up and down.
Well, let's swirl this guy around and see. I want to say that, yeah, now that you're saying that, I feel like you're, well, look, look, there is a little curve right there.
I want to grab my figure from my shelf, but
unlike classified figures, the 80s Joes actually designed the backpacks to fit a certain
The classified version is not going to give you any help as to which way to orient that backpack. If it stays on at all. I'm sorry, that's a little harsh, but anyway,
it depends if the peg is, because the peg tends to be a little higher on the backpacks because the hole is pretty high up the back.
You probably can't see it in our live stream, but everybody should visit 3djoes.com. You can see it a little better from this side. The curvature, it looks like pretty clearly it's supposed to go this way. But that's the way I always put it on mine. And look, if you look at the backpack, it looks like there's like a little pocket flap right there even. Which, granted, this is clearly like steel or something. So I doubt this is a pocket. But I think I always kind of looked at that way too. So anyway,
most
everybody,
importantly,
let me pitch. Everybody, check out 3djoes.com for the absolute best look at every G.I. Joe thing from 82 to 94. All right.
More importantly, with Battle Armor Cobra Commander, and what should be the topic of discussion on every forum, is the mouthpiece sculpted on as one, or is it going to be a separate piece that everybody is going to lose as well?
It looks like it's part of the helmet, which I hope it is. There's no reason for it to be separate.
Agreed. Until we get the Battle Armor variant where it's missing.
Well, yeah, when we get the version that was sold at KB Toys,
Yeah.
it was missing it altogether.
Right. That just has the little ooh.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. That is what's coming from Classified on April the 15th. Hopefully they'll just still be the same slightly too expensive prices they currently are and not more expensive prices. We'll find out. But as we all know, Big Bad has already raised their standard Classified price to $27.99 in anticipation of everything that's going on. So I love Big Bad. They are my favorite online toy store, but I am not paying $27.99 for Classified figures. That's above my line.
Mm-hmm.
So what? Oh, you guys, that's it? That's all the news? It can't be. It can't already be time for everybody's favorite segment of the show. That's right. It's time for Sound Off, where we go to social media, the wretched hive of scum and villainy that is social media, to get input from the Audible Army about what we're going to talk about on the show. So our first batch of input is from 2 weeks ago. We just ran out of time. There was so much news. We were not able to get to Sound Off or Joe and Tell. And since it's only 9/11 right now, we hopefully will have plenty of time for both of those things. Because right now, I have got 4 episodes worth of Joe and Tell backlogged.
I've got Joe and Tell backlogged too, but
oh my gosh. Yeah. And really
I
the
didn't
the
until
Super
today.
7, the Reaction Plus really would have been my Joe and Tell if I didn't have so much stuff that I need to talk about. So let's get on with it, and time for Sound Off. Wreck Ship 85, front and center. Which G.I. Joe or Cobra would be found tiptoeing through the tulips? Now, as much as I would love to have an O-ring Tiny Tim figure
with a ukulele,
let's make it happen. I mean, to me, the obvious choice for this was Pathfinder. He is the Joe's gardener. He will be tiptoeing through the tulips, not so as not to damage them, while very carefully pulling the weeds from around those tulips.
I was trying to think of Joe's name Tim, and I could think of Timothy Hanrahan, so Blowtorch would be tiptoeing through his tulips.
Okay, I like it.
Carrying a flamethrower to make sure that if they got unwieldy, he could get rid of them.
Joe Ara says Chuckles because matching shirt.
Solid.
Rachel Salinas with Lightfoot tiptoes through the tulips.
Solid. I'm liking this. People are coming up with some good stuff.
Unfortunately, I'm going to kill it here because I thought the only choice was Crystal Ball, because he just looks like the sort of person that would be creeping around your tulips, trying to look in the windows. I don't know.
Are there any where is Holland? Is that where tulips?
Mm-hmm.
They're Nederlanders.
So would Windmill potentially be tiptoeing through the tulips?
I guess he could.
All right, moving on from. By the way, what I find to be exactly the appropriate level of silliness for this show. So well done, Wreck Ship. Next up, XR Borges X. Which of the OG 13 are you most excited to see with a classified update? Kristian.
Flash.
Noel.
Short fuse.
Okay. All right, you just want to see what that mortar is going to look like.
Yes.
Flash was also my pick. Which is appropriate because that is, as you can see, XR Borges X's avatar. Big Flash fan. Yeah, I think classified Flash. I mean, we've already seen his loadout with Glenda.
And when we get him, we're going to get a Grand Slam.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope
Oh,
so.
they better Grand Slam knock him out of the park, or there's going to be problems.
The question: Are we getting red padding Grand Slam or silver padding Grand Slam?
Both. I'm not even kidding. I want both because I want to have Flash because Flash had the brown boots and gloves, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were both brown, but there were different shades. Oh no, I guess Grand
No,
Slam was
there was a
black.
brown and a black.
Yeah, Grand Slam was black.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I want all of that because I think it's interesting. I like it.
Well, Out of Shelf Space chimed in and agreed with Flash. Rachel Salinas wants Steeler, which I had totally forgotten about. And Smog17 asks the one with red armor and visor. I forget his name.
Flash.
Flash.
Or Grand Slam.
Right.
Yeah. But that's all of them. Those are the only 4 because they've done the other I guess they've done the other 9, haven't they? Yeah.
Zap.
Yeah, I mean,
we haven't done Zap. That's right. We
Yeah.
haven't gotten Zap. Poor Zap. He's got to have a fabulous mustache whenever they make him.
Yeah. All right. Next up, Knox Levitt 1. Which G.I. Joe book is more exciting for you to purchase and read? Real American Hero by Larry Hama or Energon Universe G.I. Joe? So full disclosure, we do get review copies of all of that. And while I am behind on Real American Hero, I was definitely enjoying it. It just got to the point where I couldn't keep up with anything. For me, Energon Universe, it not only is the most exciting thing right now, but it's probably the most excited I've been for G.I. Joe media since the Devil's Due stuff.
I will say this doesn't specify what era of A Real American Hero by Larry Hama, so I'm going to say 1982's A Real American Hero by Larry Hama is my favorite.
I feel like by saying for you to purchase and read, he's implying the current runs.
I can still purchase those. There are comic book stores everywhere.
Right.
But no, I think of other modern stuff. There's a lot of stuff I like in the Real American Hero books. But consistently, I've liked the Energon Universe. I think a lot more since we switched to Skybound.
So this is going to be the pageant answer that Knox probably will not like, but I find that to be like comparing apples to oranges, honestly.
Yeah.
As someone who is still reading both, there has been stuff going on in Larry Hama's book that makes my jaw drop. Like, especially this wrap up to the Springfield storyline has just been every bit as good as what's been going on in Energon. I think Energon brings more excitement at the moment because it started from ground zero. So, you don't have Baroness on the team in Larry Hama's book. So we're getting to experience all new surprises and risk. But that's a risk we take.
Oh boy.
But I would say, if you're wanting a fresh take that you've never seen before, you want Energon. And if you grew up with G.I. Joe and you're wanting something that feels like the G.I. Joe that you grew up with, you want Larry Hama's book. But they're both really good. I mean, the issue's been out for a while, but I mean, in the Marvel run, they kill off Serpentor, finding out after all these years that Mindbender has kept another clone of Serpentor.
And why wouldn't he?
stabbed an arrow in its eye just so people would think it was the dead Serpentor. Like, that is Larry Hama, like, brilliance. Like, that moment was just so cool. That's the kind of stuff you're going to get there. So
yeah, I think they both have a lot to
can't pick
recommend
between
them.
the two.
They both have a lot to recommend them, and it really is just we're very fortunate to have different flavors of G.I. Joe available right now.
Jeff Butler says, I bought the 2 new Real American Hero trades because I love the art, though I'm over the zombie story arc. And I don't disagree with you. I feel like that did go a little long. But I promise you, as you get to the wrap up of it, you're like, oh, did Hama plan this out? Because we know he goes issue.
We know he doesn't.
We know he doesn't. But I'm telling you, the way it all starts to wrap up made me think, oh, he did. But
interesting. I got to get caught up. All right. White Vegeta, Space Zombies from Mars Kickstarter is ending soon. Personally, super excited. Do you think it will make it before counting the retailers? Well, unfortunately, this is from 2 weeks ago. And as we know now, Space Zombies from Mars, though promising, did not make it. I feel like, well, I don't know. There's no telling what's going to happen with something like that now. I would say under different conditions, I think we would probably see those in some other form. But now everything's up in the air, so I don't know. For me personally, there wasn't quite enough variety there for me to really get invested in it. But the biggest block I had against backing it was the uncertainty of the financial reality of 2025. Tom.Henry, I'm late 23 in my archival Audible Interlude listening. By the way, we have had a couple of people volunteering their services to create records of Audible Interlude episodes, topics, whatever else. And we've got, guys, I'm bringing this up now so I remember it. Kristian and Noel, we've got to sit down and figure out what we want that to look like. So we got to get back to those folks. So anyway, Tom.Henry, I am late 23 in my archival Audible Interlude listening. I've always enjoyed when you cast Joes in 80s movies, but I haven't heard y'all cast the best 80s movie, Condor Man.
Oh, my God.
Raptor, oh boy. Raptor is a cop-out, not allowed. Hashtag Fang 2025. Kristian, I'm glad you're excited, but guys, I have absolutely nothing for this.
This was a Disney movie.
Oh, I remember it, but not well enough to
like
do
the early
this with
80s.
it. Yeah.
Oh, yes, that theme song. Okay, let me pull up the characters. For Condor Man himself.
Pardon me while I Homer Simpson into a bush while you
Man. So it's got to be somebody who doesn't necessarily know. Tripwire. That is who would be a good Condor Man. Because it's got to be somebody that can get the job done, but didn't know that they can get the job done, and they get it done in a very Max Smart, Get Smart TV show kind of way. But for the rest of them, let me think on it, Tom, and I will let you know. But I definitely think I'm sticking with Tripwire for Condor Man himself.
All right. Good job, Kristian.
All right.
Silent Interlude. Also a moot point. When do you think we will see Reaction Plus Wave 3?
Today!
Maybe a little earlier than June. We might see Wave 4 by June at this rate. Yeah, they're here. Okay, so I think that brings us to, let me do a little peek ahead here. I do believe that brings us to the new ones. Yes. So great. Excellent. This is this week's Sound Offs, starting with Yorktown Joe. Now, I commented, which I don't usually do on the Sound Off because I want to save whatever our comments are going to be for the show. But I did comment back on this one because I like it so much. Yorktown Joe says, the Joes and Cobra have several animal companions. What animal companion family or subphylum would make you laugh the heartiest if introduced into the line? And I responded, knowing us, this could be a whole episode. But while we're putting that in our back pocket, I do have an answer here, and I'm sure you guys do as well. Noel, you wanna kick us off?
Well, I thought capybaras would be funny, but then I thought after recently watching a bit of Thor: Love and Thunder on television last week, I want screaming goats.
I love it. With Alpine, like maybe they do,
yeah, Alpine would go great with a mountain goat. Yes,
they do the I think it was a 2004 version of Alpine wearing like shorts. Do that Alpine with a goat. I'm in. Let's go. I love that. I thought mine was going to be the winner, but I really like that goat. Kristian, have you got something?
Yeah, but nothing that compares to that.
Well, then you go next.
So I was thinking cleaner shrimp because we don't have a heck of a lot of underwater animal companions.
What did you say? Cleaner shrimp?
Yeah.
What is a cleaner shrimp?
So
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, so in saltwater aquariums, cleaner shrimp are like these bright red shrimp that basically you buy, right, because they eat algae, so they'll control algae growth.
Oh, see, I'm familiar with the fish, like the sucker fish or whatever they are.
I own some plecos.
This is a shrimp. So like I just see like a cobra eel with all these little shrimp on him, and then
gosh,
he's like,
what a nightmare.
Go, and then they just go to the Joes, and they're more of a nuisance.
I'm having an Anya from Buffy moment right now. Ugh.
I was thinking like Remora could do that.
Jeff Butler says a honey badger.
Yes, I like. Yeah, what do we got in the chat? I think we've got some good stuff in the chat.
Oh, right? Smog 17 meerkat.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, meerkat with sneak peek.
Oh, I love it. That's great.
That makes sneak peek more relevant than the giant periscope. You can just send meerkats up to look over the hill for him.
Reverend Scott Stripling says pigs. Yes,
I like that. I mean, we got
to cross country could have a pig.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so here's mine. Hang on just a minute. I lost my page. So this comes from a delightful experience. I can't remember if it was Disney's Animal Kingdom or the Atlanta Zoo. From Wikipedia. Tapirs are large herbivorous animals belonging to the family Tapiridae. They are similar in shape to a pig with a short prehensile nose trunk. Tapirs inhabit jungle and forest regions of South and Central America and Southeast Asia. They are one of 3 extant branches of Perissodactylia, alongside equines and rhinoceroses. Only a single genus, Tapirus, is currently extant. Tapirs migrated into South America during the Plesiostone epoch from North America after the formation of the Isthmus of Panama as part of the Great American Interchange. Tapirs were formerly present across North America, but became extinct in the region at the end of the late Pleistocene, around 12,000 years ago. Now, all of that is very interesting, but not nearly as interesting as this. Tapirs are known for scenting and spraying their sticky urine up to 10 feet. So what I want is a squirting tapir. Like it's got a bulb for a body, and it has the offensive capability to spray that urine 10 feet at the Cobra troops. I don't know. I mean, Recondo would have been my pick, but we've already got a couple of Recondos. So I don't know. I don't know who comes with the taper. Outback could, but we've already got it. Maybe Night Force Outback with a night taper. Oh, and you know what? I totally forgot. Hang on.
Not a night taper.
I can imagine Outback is not putting up with an animal companion.
I have done a terrible disservice because I forgot my visual aid. Who wouldn't want this beautiful, majestic, confused creature as a classified figure? Ambush! Yes! Rachel Salinas nailed it. Ambush needs to come with a taper.
Golden the taper.
Yes.
Hunters often scent themselves with animal urine. So, while he's out there ambushing in the woods. I'm not sure I like where this is going tonight.
Jeff Butler says, insert Ernest P. Worrell reaction to the squirting taper. Ew.
You gotta do the jaw. Ew.
That's it.
I love that we have fit an Ernest reference into our podcast.
By the way, Ernest P. Worrell reaction plus figure, please.
Yes. O-ring Ernest.
Oh, boy. So, yeah, give me my taper. All right, let's move on. Wreck Ship 85. Something like this may have been asked before, but what should be a new subline for Joe or Cobra for the modern day? Let's see. Kristian, why don't you start this one?
Okay, so my subline for the Joes would be barista. So it would be like the
Coffee Force.
Yeah, dressed more modern. They battle with their iPads and their cell phones. For Cobra, it would be just awesome. And they would just re-release the figures because Cobra is awesome.
Okay. Mine for this is Special Mission Cybertron.
Mm-hmm.
So he did not specify classified. These are O-ring figures of Claymore, Dial Tone, Mainframe, Wetsuit, Leatherneck, but they are in Cybertronian disguises, so they look like robots. And they come with a full-sized Cosmos that transforms. Because in all the time we've talked about what would be good for that crossover line, Cosmos would be perfect because his big giant body would be so easy to have open up and put those 5 Joes. All it would need to be is a circular couch and a center console, and you just sit them in there. But I had another idea that I kind of liked. Rather than having O-ring size, because they'd be about Bumblebee. Bumblebee was almost human size. He was a little bigger, but not much. So rather than having 3 3/4 inch O-ring figures, what if we did them in humanoid style? So it's full-size Transformer bodies with Transformer heads, but then you pull the Transformer head off and the little Joe head is inside. So it's like a mech armor of an existing Transformers character. There are a couple different ways to go with that, but I do really like especially with what's going on in the Energon universe, I really do like the idea of Special Mission Cybertron, where they're trying to infiltrate
of a Cosmos that you could put figures in.
Yeah. I don't think it would be different, but he'd be huge.
He'd be very large.
Sure.
And he's normally a very small little guy.
Right. Well, he's how they do things. Astrotrain was not the biggest Transformer ever, and yet all of the Decepticons fit into him. let's move on before that gets worse.
Oh.
Wait, Noel, what is your subline?
So I figured, we're talking about modern military. We have a Space Force now. And I know we've done Space Joes before. So I want my Space Force to be in costumes similar to the really terrible, unwatchable Netflix show that came out a few years ago with Steve Carell.
Oh, I don't agree with that. It had tone issues, but I'm just going to say right now, Bermuda, Bahama, come on, pretty mama. I don't want to get copyright hit on that. I'm going to stop there. I enjoyed that show. I thought it was really weird, and I couldn't tell if it was a drama or a comedy.
I couldn't get through the first season. As much talent was on that show, Steve Carell, John Malkovich, what's his name from Parks and Rec, and what's his name from
it was
Silicon Valley.
It's very odd, but I certainly didn't find it to be unwatchable or terrible.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about, so now I feel like I have to.
You should.
It was a pandemic show.
But yes, I do. I like that. I like that idea. All right. Hillbilly Harper just wanted to say y'all do an amazing job. You're one of my favorite shows to listen to. Keep up the great work, and may God bless each of you. They certainly have. See ya at Joe Fest. We will absolutely see you and lots of other people at Joe Fest. Thank you for that, Hillbilly. Everybody check out Podcast from the Pit very often, live on Saturday morning. What is up next? I feel like that's the last. Oh no, wait, we've got two more. That's right. Two more came in last minute. A couple of people, because 7:30 is my cutoff. A couple of people slid in under the radar. White Vegeta commented, as exciting as it is to get more pre-orders coming soon, my personal experience with brick and mortar has been incredibly disappointing. Several Walmarts in my area have even removed Joe altogether. Your thoughts? And I'll tell you right now, brick and mortar barely even plays a role in my collecting now.
I don't think I've seen a G.I. Joe at a Walmart in like 6 months.
So
I take that back. I did find a couple of the classified, the card back ones, the retro card backs, and a couple of the classifieds. I saw the Storm Shadow there, the V2 Storm Shadow, which I was really surprised about.
So our Walmart had like I saw Doc retro figures, but then just a couple of weeks ago they did a relayout of the toy area.
Yeah, they're doing that at my local ones. They're not done yet.
All of them right now.
And
yeah,
to his point, there are no Joes on the shelf. And I'm like, well, how did you go from having these to now having nothing?
So they're gone, right?
Yeah. And they used to have 2 pegs for Masterverse He-Man, and then 2 pegs right below that for, Origins, Turtles, whatever. And now it's 1 peg Masterverse, 1 peg, whatever 5-inch He-Man is on there. So, yeah,
I'm not just Joe, not just Joe, but all the stuff I collect. Barely anything comes from brick and mortar anymore.
I did find a couple of clearance. I got one of the big Transformers 1 Optimus Primes that's normally $50 for $20. And I got one of the. I didn't find the Blockies blind boxes, but I did find the Blockies model kits. So I got the Optimus Prime.
Oh, my review goes up because I got several of the Blockies, just the small figures, and I reviewed them. And I did not get a single Optimus Prime though. Spoiler for my review: no Optimus Primes.
So in our chat, Jeff Butler commenting that their Target still stocks Joe. Yorktown Joe has, as recently as Saturday, saw storm shadows in Xandars,
Oh,
and
wow.
Wreck Ship chimes in. There's been reports of finding Xandar leatherneck and saw vipers at Walmarts sporadically, recently in the Facebook groups. I think it's still just Walmart's terrible distribution. And
Yeah, I actually ran into
yeah,
another collector in a Walmart the other day, and we were talking about how, particularly here, it's not that we don't get stuff; it's just that we get it 6 months after everybody else. So by then, it's irrelevant.
and Brett White chiming in with living in New York City, brick and mortar is just a big O LOL. Never happens. I never thought of that. I'm it's very curious actually about how that experience is, because at least in the places of New York where I've been for work, yeah, I there's comic shops, but I can't remember seeing like a Walmart or a Target. I'm sure they're there, but you got to go.
Brian Myers, one of the major pod guys, lives in shoot, I can't remember what part of New York he lives in. It's more suburby, but his stores, like since that show has existed, his local Targets and Walmarts never have anything. All right. SL Polk 21 commented, I don't know if you've covered this before, but if you were a character on the Joe or Cobra teams, what would your specialties be? Where would you slot Mongoose on the Joes? Thanks, and I always enjoy your episodes. Well, thank you. I appreciate hearing that. So I think we're going to stay really surface level with this, because this is another thing where we could go much, much deeper with it. As a matter of fact, we've still got, a couple of years ago now, we had phenomenal file cards written for us by a member of the Audible Army that I didn't want to share until I had proper presentation for them. And this is going to sound dumb. It's been a little harder to put together a nice looking file card than I thought it was going to be. But just very surface level for me. My specialty is, I think I'd be sort of a battlefield coordinator. My specialties are training and communication and coordination, project management. So I think communicating with troops and getting them to work together on goals would be my thing. And I think Mongoose would probably be one of General Hawk's top advisors. I think he'd be the Pelion to his Thrawn, if you will. Kristian, we know your specialty on the Cobra team.
Snark. Yeah, I'm an intern.
Noel, what about you?
I didn't see this one before, so I didn't have any time to think about this. I was gonna say I could, possibly do, because I do have a bit of a training background, so I could do some maybe not battlefield training, but maybe some use of special tools and equipment. Or maybe even maybe do some process improvement workshops with the Joe team to try to trim some fat.
Ooh, I like the idea of you as you're analyzing operations and coming up with this is how this could have been better in the future. We need to work this way.
Captain Hindsight, that's what I'd be.
That's what I was thinking.
That's great. I like it.
Redship85 says Noel is clearly a master of disguise with his cosplay ability.
Yeah.
But is Noel turtly enough for this turtle club?
Oh no. You know what? I've never done this before. Kristian, you're gone. There will be no references to that movie on this show. One of the worst movies of all time. All right. Unacceptable. I am
Cool.
maximum lemon grab right now. All right. We have to move on because I don't want anybody even thinking about what was just said. So that is the end of our sound off, which brings us to the final segment of the show that we're actually going to do this week. Often a somewhat disposable segment, but this is Joe and Tell, where we each have something that we're going to share from our personal collections, from the world of GI Joe, whatever the case may be. But we have something to Joe or show. Who wants to start this one off?
I will, because mine's fairly quick.
All right, here's hoping I can figure out the stupid new screen configurations this time. I have not been successful. Hey, look at that. Got it on the first try. What do you got, Kristian?
Okay, so the eBay seller that I bought a whole bunch of Valor versus Venom stuff from still has not shipped my order. So
Ooh.
on last week's episode, when I said I would have stuff to share, I don't have that. But today in the mail, my Street Arm
Whoa.
Rock and Roll
What?
came in. So my besides Valor versus Venom, my new eBay obsession is watching the auctions for the original Straight Arm figures. And so far, I have managed with shipping to grab Flash for under $20 and Rock and Roll for barely under $20. So it reason why I wanted to bring that up was just again
Wow.
to put it out there to our listeners that, you know, if you're sometimes patient and you just watch eBay, stuff will sneak in and you can get
Wow.
a really good deal. So I'm gonna see if over the next 60 years, if I can actually complete a Straight Arm
Well,
collection.
Zap's gonna be the magic decider there.
Yep.
Because even with broken thumbs, like he's still very expensive.
Yep.
Wow. Well, that's
Yep.
awesome. That is awesome. I like that pursuit. We'll enjoy following your adventure. All right, Noel.
All right. Well, I got to go to Toylanta last weekend. So I don't know, I didn't get the full like 50 minutes for like my post show like you did. So I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna do it very, very quickly. I'm gonna do a real quick haul, starting with the first thing that I acquired before the show
Lovely.
even opened. This was from Tacos and Toys, who I bought things from before. That's right above me. I got from last year at Retro Toy Con from the same vendor. He's a fantastic vendor out of Indianapolis. So got myself a complete Snowcat. I mean, minus Frostbite. I think the first thing I bought officially on the floor was this shrapnel from the Walmart movie collection. I got myself a complete mortar defense unit and a complete
I
missile
was
defense unit.
so close to buying those.
These were
The mortar defense is such a great. I mean, I have both of those, but mortar defense is such a great little diorama piece.
and I've got like the bits and pieces here and there, but I just, I was like, these both complete for $30 I was like, I couldn't pass
Nice.
that up.
Yeah, that's great.
I picked up these guys. These are the Night Troopers that came out back in like 2003, 2004.
Yeah, part of
love
one of
this-
the sets, right?
Yeah, and I love this deco.
Yeah.
These were marked at 18 a piece, and I got a deal without even asking for it, which is always great. I'm like, I'll do them both for 30. I was like, I didn't even ask, but thank you. Found myself another, 'cause I'm always collecting my troop builders.
Yeah,
Had to
yeah.
get me a CG. He's in great. He's missing his rifle, but not bad at that price. I just had something fall, so I'm going to grab it real quick. I will say one of my favorite vendors there, and I think I heard you mention him on your wrap up too, was it Fantastic
yeah.
Toys?
Yeah.
Always love those. Are great. They're great guys. They always have great stuff. Got myself another Stinger driver. He's a little, miscolored, but you know what? For $10, I'll take it. Got myself another Strato to replace the one whose leg
Nice.
exploded not too
Ooh.
long ago. And I was hoping I'd find all four, but I got me a BA
So
and a Murdoch.
somebody had all of them with their backpacks, and I couldn't. I talked myself out of buying so much stuff at Toylanta. I don't know what it was. I just was not
Well,
in spending mode.
No, your timing with that last one was great because White Vegeta says, I got the Ramen Toys A-Team van, and the black, gray, and red look great with the hiss and stingers.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then one last thing I picked up. I saw this at the show. This is the new Studio Series 86 Devastation Optimus Prime. I had not seen it in stores. A vendor had it for $30. Not going to say who because I like them otherwise. And I was like, ooh, let's see how much it is on Amazon. 22. All right. Thank you for letting me know this was currently available. So I bought this on Amazon for about $8 less than what I could have gotten it for at the show.
What does that transform? What is that?
Yeah. That is a
Really?
so
He looks larger than your typical Legend size.
So
figure.
he is like a deluxe size.
Okay.
I mean, he looks about the size of those RED figures they were doing.
Yeah, he's about the same height as the red figures. But yeah,
Huh.
they definitely went with the accuracy on the figure.
Yeah.
The truck mode is not great, but that's fine because you know what?
Yeah,
that's
that
the
looks
way
good.
I want him to look right there.
He looks good.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, that was my haul.
All right. Well, I'm going to wrap this thing up with one of the best mailings I've ever received. Hopefully, he's still here in the chat. Reverend Scott Stripling sent me a little art care package not too long ago. We'd been communicating. Scott, I've known Scott since I was in high school. Since 91 or 92, something like that. And he is one of the few people I know who has never stopped making art. He has a compulsion to be an artist in a way that I'm very envious of. So we've been talking back and forth about Joe, reminiscing about Joe things, and he has been talking about doing Joe art, and he actually sent me some physical pieces of the art that he's done, which is very exciting to me. So I'm going to share them now. I got some nice scans of them. First up, we've got a breaker in Scott's inimitable style, which I absolutely
love it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of there he is. Scott's here. I'm a big fan of his work and always have been. Got a Cobra Trooper. Flash, who has been quite the topic of conversation this evening. As Scott says, it's a disease.
It's a disease worth having then.
Grunt, ready for action, like almost in that classic grunt pose. Well, I guess from a different angle, you would be exactly in that classic grunt pose. And then, hang on, let me make sure I don't want. Okay, so I'm saving the big one for last. So I've told the story, I think several times now on the show and on the Needless Things channel about when I started rebuilding my Joe collection. Serpentor was one of the figures that I really wanted to have early on. And that I got one, and as soon as I moved his legs, his crotch broke off and shot directly into my face. And if I hadn't been wearing glasses, it would have taken my eye out. So I had to buy another just Serpentor crotch piece, which is holding up just fine, thank goodness. Because at the time, like when you first start getting back into those vintage Joes, you start learning about different sized O-rings, different depths of screws, different, like all the different like things about the plastic. So I didn't know that gold Serpentor plastic was a problem. So I shared that story on the show, and Scott mentioned to me in one of the chats at one point, like that he was doing an illustration, and this is one of the greatest pieces of art I have ever beheld in my life.
Is he doing the DX crotch chop?
Yeah, yes, he is. while firing his crotch, presumably at my eye. And then if you'll notice, you have Cobra Commander in the corner saying, "Wasn't that Napoleon's blanked out?" Destro saying, "I don't know," and Dr. Mindbender saying, "It was." So Serpentor did a DX crotch chop, and Transor Z boob missile style shot Napoleon's member at me.
Man,
What an action feature.
Man, this versus Keith from the Clown is Down's artwork. Man, that's a tough call as to what our best Audible Interlude artwork thus far has been.
They both have such a talent for capturing the bizarre. But I mean, this is incredible. This
That's
is
better than what I thought.
I
knew it was going to be good, but
right, you could never imagine
no.
this. So yeah, this is a beautiful piece that I will be framing and putting on the wall because my gosh, look at the look on his face. Arise, Serpentor, arise indeed. What a way to end another fantastic episode of Audible Interlude, a G.I. Joe podcast. Kristian, where can we find those pictures of toys? Boy, I didn't phrase that well at all. I'm still in awe of Serpentor's
right.
crotch.
Well,
where can we find that toy photography?
Is not mesmerized by Serpentor's crotch, but if you aren't, you can find me on Instagram and Blue Sky under Legion Cub.
Noel, tell us a little bit about The Finest.
The Finest is an international G.I. Joe costuming club, and we raise money for a wonderful organization called Canines for Warriors. So if you ever see us at a con, drop by, pick up some cool swag, and donate some money and help some vets and some pets.
Our music is by Andy Simford of electricminnowmusic.com. Follow us on Instagram at Audible Interlude Podcast. You are watching the Needless Things YouTube channel. Our next live stream is on April the 21st. And until then, yo, Joe.
Cobra.
Poing.